Hi, I'm Michelle Chalfant, psychotherapist, holistic life coach, and human just like you, learning to navigate life's challenges. With over 25 years experience, I teach people how to get healthy using the adult chair model. The adult chair model is where simple psychology meets grounded spirituality, and it teaches us how to become healthy adults. From anxiety and depression to codependency and relationship issues, you can use the adult chair for just about anything. Each week, I share practical tips, tools, and advice from myself and a wide range of experts on how to get unstuck, how to live authentically, and how to truly love yourself, all while sitting in your adult chair. Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. I am Michelle Chalfant. Happy to be here with you today. We are talking to today Niraj Naik all about the power of breathing. Would you believe it? Would you believe I can't even tell you the list of illnesses and diseases that we can heal through breathing properly. That is what Niraj and I spoke about today. He is a wealth of information. He knows all about breathing, let me just tell you. And I just want to take a little moment to shout out to all the parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins that were dropping off a child at college last week. I know this is the time of year where kids are departing, and it's emotional. It's emotional. I talked about that, I think, a year ago and the year before when my kids were leaving, and it's a very emotional time, and grief sort of smacks you unexpectedly. You're not quite sure how much you're going to grieve, but it comes up for sure. So make sure you are feeling that grief. And as we move into, which kind of blows my mind, September next week, you know what? It's the fall. It's coming. And if you've got anything you want to take time to work on, do not forget we have our incredible adult chair certified coaches. So if you're interested in working with someone that really knows the adult chair, go check out our coaches. You can see all of them on the website at theadultchair.com/coaches. Niraj Naik, otherwise known as the Renegade Pharmacist, is a certified UK pharmacist turned holistic wellness, brain training, and breathwork expert. He is one of the world's most sought-after spiritual ceremony facilitators and leads breathwork workshops all around the world. This guy knows his stuff. It was a delight and a pleasure to speak with him. I know you're going to love this show. Here we go with Niraj Naik. Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast, Niraj.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. And you said you're in Thailand right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm on a little island called Koh Phangan, just
Ooh.
outside. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to live right now.
How long have you been there?
Extremely hot.
Oh, is it? But I like the heat.
Oh, it's very tropical. So I've been here almost 2 years. We kind of got quarantined on this island, and it's been amazing actually. Like it's become like an incubating period for a lot of creativity and a lot of growth. So yeah, it's been great.
It sounds like a wonderful place to be quarantining.
Oh yeah,
on a tropical island.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, we're so happy to have you here. I am a very big fan. You know, people that listen to my show know I'm all about emotional healing and living in our most authentic life. And you talk a lot about this. So I'd love just for you to share with my listeners who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how, and this term, I love this term, renegade pharmacist. So let's hear a little bit about you.
Sure. So I used to be a pharmacist, community pharmacist years ago. And, we were talking about finding your authentic self and what that is. And actually, it's really difficult to really know what that is, especially at a young age. And we tend to get conditioned by just, our parents, the schools we go to, the media, just the culture that we live in, to follow a certain path, especially Indian kids, we tend to follow the tradition a lot more closely. And, you know, we're told we're going to be a pharmacist or a doctor or a lawyer or accountant. You know, we're going to follow in our family footsteps. And that's exactly what I did. I ended up being a pharmacist without really knowing what it's about or why I even want to do it. It was just a thing you just do. So that was my conditioning. And, you know, so to really find out what you truly want, you've got to also be very aware that that can change a lot. It can change from you become a different person every year. So you have to always check in with yourself. And that comes down to really understanding your instincts, you know, and how you feel emotionally from the guts, from the heart, from the soul, you know, which is really alignment of all of these different forms of intelligence and consciousness in your body. And I didn't know anything about this stuff. So I just followed, you know, the life as it were. But somehow it led me in a very strange, serendipitous way, even though it was very, very challenging, because the pharmacy world really took its toll on me after a while, because it's just a very stressful career. If you don't want to do it, if you're not meant to do that job, which is a very robotic job, you're not really doing anything for the patients. In the UK, anyway, you're just working in a factory, dishing out pills. It's a huge moneymaker. So for somebody like me who's very creative, like that right brain stuff is what I thrive on, but this job is very left brain. So it was just very stressful. And in the end, I just had a bit of a breakdown. I also didn't feel like I was doing what I really wanted. You know, I wasn't really contributing in the way I wanted to. I didn't feel like I was really serving people. I actually saw more people getting sick, right? Rather than well from this whole service. So something just didn't sit right with me. And you know, every day I'd struggle to get out of bed, and I'd struggle to get to work on time. And actually, this is the first signs of stress. Like when that is your norm, when you literally can't get out of bed, you hit the alarm clock 3 or 4 times, you know, that's basically a warning sign that you need to change. That's your soul telling you to do something else. Okay.
Yeah.
Most people don't. They just stick to it and they keep doing it.
It seems like so many of us, we just push through. We just push through, we ignore, we numb out, we just keep going, and we're not tuning into what that, like you said, what is your soul trying to tell you? I'm curious, how many years were you a pharmacist until this started happening?
7 years.
So you were 7 years.
How long was? Oh no. This started happening like within the first couple of weeks of being.
Oh, really?
In total, it was 7 years as a pharmacist. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But as soon as I stepped foot in the pharmacy, I was like, this is not for me. This is just not right. But I made my job more enjoyable. So that's what was the catalyst for me. It's what changed my answer in the morning. Like, do I want to go to work? It turned into a more enthusiastic yes. The moment, actually, I went to a Tony Robbins event, by the way, and I was having a nervous breakdown, so I had to do something. My friend took me to it. It wasn't something I would ever do, but I just went to it. And it was the last day where he talked about, it wasn't him, it was one of his mentors or whatever, was talking about diet, nutrition, exercise, breathing, and things like that. It's the first time I've ever heard anyone talk about these things, because before that, in university, you're not taught anything about health and disease. And so I was blown away, and I was like, right, I'm going to put Tony Robbins to the test, because I've got all these sick patients. I'm going to see if this stuff works. And I started to hand out these healthy shopping lists for patients. I made a shopping list system, and I had amazing results, and I started to get people off medications.
Wow.
So this really brought back the job satisfaction, because I was seeing people come off drugs that were giving them side effects. That got me labeled the renegade pharmacist by that first employer, but then I ended up getting promoted to the head office of a big corporation in the UK, and they have a grocery and a pharmacy all in one. So it was quite logical, you know, that pharmacists could give out a shopping list type deal to patients, they could go and get the food as their medicine.
Yeah.
And it was working when I was doing it. And then I was like, well, why don't we get all pharmacists to do this initiative? But that's where it really got roadblocks. And then about 6 months into doing this project, they shelved the idea. And that's when I totally lost all my passion for life and everything. I just felt so disillusioned with the world and God, and spirit. And boom, I got hit with an autoimmune disease. And then I was housebound for a year after that.
Wow.
And it was going through that healing journey which changed everything. That's when everything changed, because I then discovered what it truly takes to get healthy, right? And to be your best every single day. And it was through that journey where I took all the conventional treatments, none of them worked. And they say God stands for gift of desperation. And a dear friend of our family, Swami Ambikananda, who's a yoga teacher, she came to the rescue. She said, look, you actually have a gift here. And if you can actually heal yourself without these medicines, you're going to be a great role model because of all your passion for helping people. So
I just have to stop you. I literally just wrote that down in my notes. This was a gift. You have to see, I just wrote down it was a gift. I said, wow, what a gift this was.
Totally.
Sorry. I'm like, oh my gosh, I agree. So then what happened?
Gift of desperation. Yeah. So that was when I first discovered pranayama, Ayurveda, yoga, and meditation. She taught me some basic stuff from that, which put me down a rabbit hole. And I just wanted to learn as much as I possibly could. And that's when I discovered my passion again for music. So before I was a pharmacist, I was into music big time. I was running big music events and raves and all this stuff. That was my first business at university. And this was doing really well. And then that crashed and burned on that. And that's why I ended up having to be a pharmacist in the end. And then I tried many attempts to get out of the music industry, get into the music industry, sorry. But things kept pushing me out of it. And it was that culture is just not aligned with me either. That commercial music scene and selling your soul is not what I'm about. And I always saw music as a spiritual thing, because when you do these big events, these like raves that we used to run, they were like people going to church. There was so much love and so much connection and community spirit. So that was what I wanted to bring back in some form, but music with a message and a purpose. And what I discovered was that actually you can create different types of music to change your brainwave states. And through that, you can get into altered states where also you can use breathing techniques to work with that, to then speak to your unconscious mind and reprogram it like an operating system. It's being programmed by a computer programmer. You become your own computer programmer. And that's literally what I did. And I discovered a book, actually, a very good book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which is written by Joseph Murphy. He's actually a pharmacist, but also an Ayurvedic doctor and a Christian science. He was really into Christianity, but also he understood the Eastern medicine. So he fused them together and he created this system using mantras, tools to get into meditative states and affirmations to work with the unconscious mind. And I started to use some of the techniques from that. And I then refined them with music and breathing techniques. And then that led to, I got a lot better. And I use Ayurvedic techniques for my diet, lifestyle, exercise, breathing techniques. And it was a complete lifestyle change,
Yeah.
So that was it. So I literally, within a few months, healed myself from this illness. So ulcerative colitis affects your gut. And according to the Ayurvedic system, diseases affect you where you're weakest in your body. So
disease, say that again. That's powerful.
Diseases affect you where there's the weakness in your body. So energetically.
Okay.
So some people are going to get, and this can be worked out. You can figure out what you're predisposed to by your energy type, your energy blueprint, according to Ayurvedic system. They're called the doshas.
Yep.
But anyway, with the this system, you can really identify the right lifestyle for yourself and what you're predisposed to potentially to get sick from. And my energy type was the one that's prone to ulcerative colitis. It affects your colon and the gut. And so in the Ayurvedic system, like some people are going to get more symptoms of fire if they're very fiery. So there's three elements: air, fire, and earth, or matter, right? So the fiery types, they're going to get like heartburn, inflammation, high blood pressure, things like that. Fiery issues of too much fire. Yeah. The air types, I'm a combination of the air and fire. The air types tend to get more colon issues, but they also can like get very skinny. The muscles can waste away. They can get nervous system disorders. And the earth types, they're more prone to things like obesity and issues associated with obesity and putting on too much matter, weight. Got it. Right? Mass. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's just a very like superficial like summary of what I'm talking about. But I was more predisposed to being Vata Pitta, to the fire and colon issues. Right. So that's exactly what I got. Ulcers in the colon, right? So fire, too much acid, fire causes ulcers. Yeah. So yeah, so it was amazing. I was like, wow, I'm discovering who I am just by reading these texts. And so then what happened was the first thing I did was I got really into music, and I didn't want to be like a guru type. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted to get my music out there because I knew people were was liking it. So I initially just started making music for therapists and other people who had courses, and I made a license for my music, and it actually got quite popular. And in the end, like hypnotherapists like Marissa Peer, who's quite well known. Oh yeah. Wim Hof. I made all the soundtracks of the Wim Hof method. Wow. Who I met down the road, and then it was used in spas and resorts, which is great. So that was my first thing, and then I started to teach people my methods. But I used to do it for free off my Renegade Pharmacist website. I had a site called the renegadepharmacist.com, which was all my research knowledge and systems for healing that I just gave away for free. But then eventually I had so much demand from people asking me for help and I eventually wanted to put that into a course. So I made some courses around that, which then eventually led to our SOMA Breath school, our academy, which has got many different courses, but also revolves around this breathing technique, which is part inspired by Wim Hof, but also from the pranayama techniques that I did. And what I've done is I've created like a school of pranayama and holistic techniques from Ayurveda, but kind of like made them easy to understand. Yeah. And put like as much science behind them from all the research that I've gathered together. And it's grown from like, our first, actually on Koh Phangan was our first training about 3 or 4 years ago. We originated it here, but now it's grown into, and that was like 15 people. It's now in about 3 years turned into, that's about 16 or 1700 instructors around the world. So, wow. You have 16 or 1700 instructors around the world. That's incredible. Yeah. That's just instructors. Yeah. We've had thousands of people do our stuff. Well, congratulations. Cool. And thank you for your work. And I want to back up a little bit because what a story. I mean, this is incredible. But I think that you were given, and we all are given, when we have something like this illness. I think about you going and studying music and loving music, but something felt off. So it never clicked for you in the beginning. Then you have colitis. I mean, you come down with this illness. And in that moment, as humans, we have a choice. We can look at it and learn from it and ask what the gift is in this, or
Many of us get angry. We blame God, we blame ourselves, we blame doctors, we blame, whomever, but you turned it around and you said, what is in this for me? And look at what happened. I mean, I think just talking about that part alone is huge for people to hear, because we're not great at that. Humans are not great at that. We blame, right?
Yes.
So you went inward. Oh my God. And then look what happened because of it. Really beautiful.
That's
and now
true.
I see, when you think about the soul's journey, it wasn't a mistake for you to get colitis. You didn't do anything wrong. It was absolutely intentional and perfect for you to get this, because then you were able to create what you have right now and teach the world.
It gave me the story. For sure.
Yes, it gave you the story, and then you overcame it. So I want to hear, you overcame colitis with music, breath. I mean, incredible. And I think, again, we were talking about this before, stress, it can eat away at us and we ignore it. We have to start paying attention. We have to pay attention to, like you said, what an indicator. I think about the indicator in a car, like when the light goes on, we pay attention, we bring it into the shop. When we have issues in the morning and we can't get out of bed, we have to learn to go inward and say, what is going on with myself? What is going on here?
Yes.
Don't push through, but say, what is happening? What would you recommend to people? Like, what can we do? What if someone is listening saying, that's me? Something feels off. Whether they're dealing with, again, anxiety or depression, or even just chronic stress, what would be the next step for that person to take? What do you recommend?
Great. So there's a couple of very simple questions to ask yourself first, right? To determine your state of health. And in Ayurveda, there's a very simple mantra, right? Which is, do you eat well? Do you sleep well? Do you make love well? Do you, go to toilet okay? Do you
can say
have
poop.
any shit well?
Yes.
do you
yeah.
And then do you have any grudges?
Yeah.
Or do you have love? So simple things about your character and your well-being. But that means you're well. If you answer, if you don't have any grudges and you love people and you're compassionate and you don't have any of those issues with your lifestyle, then you're well, right? But people get worried about everything. They go for a checkup, they're completely fine.
Yeah.
And the doctor says, oh, there's a little risk that you might have this. And then that gets into your head and you start dwelling on it, and then boom, it does manifest as something. But on the whole, most people are well. They don't need any treatments, okay? But if one of those things does get messed up, say you've gone off your food, okay, you got to look into that. Means there's something wrong. You're not sleeping properly. You can't get to sleep at night. There's something wrong. So these are simple things you can ask yourself today. But one of the most fundamental ones is, am I waking up every single day enthusiastic to do a hard day's work? Or am I can't get out of bed kind of person? Or am I compassionate and enthusiastic to be compassionate to other people? And if you answer those things properly and with positive answers, then you're usually well. But the moment you stop answering those questions, like say you're waking up and you're just pissed off with everybody, you just hate the world, or you just don't want to get out of bed, you hate your job, you hate your boss, that's when you need to check in. So a lot of people, as we said before, they leave it too late. And what that turns into chronic stress. Chronic stress then creates like a fire inside of you, internal engine, an emotional firestorm, and you get burnt out, as the saying goes. So then the disease is going to affect you where you're most prone to get a disease. Okay? And this can be figured out according to the Ayurvedic system. But the treatment is very simple. it's usually just changing your lifestyle to correct those things that are going wrong, the things that are causing the symptoms, right? Now, having a correct lifestyle where you're exercising properly, you're breathing correctly, you're sleeping properly, you're full of love and life, right? Love for life. Okay, that's why my t-shirt has this affirmation.
Oh, I love that.
It's our song, actually. I made a song with.
Oh, I love it.
It's very profound lyrics. I'll send it to you at some point.
Yeah, please. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, it's pretty catchy. So yeah, so you can figure out, exactly the right way to exercise, the right way to breathe and sleep, and all the lifestyle factors that's going to give you optimal well-being from this Ayurvedic system. But it's going to be different and unique for everybody.
Yeah.
The issue of going to a doctor, or even quite often these coaches, is that they give you a one-size-fits-all technique or method or diet plan or a medicine that they blanket prescribe to everybody, right? Now the problem with that is that we're all unique and individual. We're all different. Okay. Like, I'll give you a classic example about blood pressure. Do you know what Gandhi's blood pressure was?
No.
You would think it would be quite
healthy
and chill. It was 200 over 100.
Whoa.
It's like super high, right?
Yeah.
But he was completely healthy. When they did the post-mortem on his body, he was totally fine. There was no health issues from the high blood pressure.
Interesting.
So if you actually take everybody's blood pressure and put it at population's blood pressure, it would create a bell-shaped curve where the average is somewhere in the middle and it's like a bell shape. But you're going to get people on either side. Some are right at the bottom on low blood pressure, and some are at the top end. 25% on each side are going to be false positives when you go to the doctor, because the doctor's going to go, you're off the spectrum here. You should be corrected to this middle. And you're off the spectrum, you're too low. You need to be made higher. So what happens is you end up correcting people who don't have anything to correct, right? And you freak them out because of it as well. And this is what's happening a lot and that's why there's so much over-prescribing and unnecessary prescribing. So you've got to know thyself. That's my biggest mantra, right? And that's what our SOMA Breath system is all about, is to very quickly identify who you are. And our breathing techniques helps you to understand you really deeply, because these breathing techniques take you into different states of consciousness where you start to hear another voice, voice rather than just the voice in your head. You start to feel your spirit speaking to you, that you've been numbing down and putting loads of layers of masks over, right? So what we try to do is we help people to wake up basically to who they truly are.
I love it.
But the very simple way of doing that, just to help people, is just to do a simple routine in the morning, a breathing practice. Because with breathing techniques, you can quickly correct your physiology, right? And breathing is one of the things that people give least importance to, even though it's the most important thing you do. If you think about it, what's the one thing you need the most that you like? If you put it on a scale of different things that you need to survive, breathing is by far the most important, because you can go without food for a couple of months, right? You can go without water for weeks, but breathing, you can only go without for a few minutes, several minutes, right? So that's why it should be given the most importance, but it's given the least for some reason. Now, when you understand breathing, what it does, breathing is you are the breath, because if according to the quantum science, the quantum world, everything is energy, everything. And how do you produce energy in the body? It's through the breath. Oxygen burns with sugar inside your mitochondria to create a fire, right? And it's like a combustion engine, but right in the center of those mitochondria is ATP being produced. And this is how your body communicates, right? With all the cells, and it's the currency of energy around the body. So fundamentally, your breath is your life, right? Breathing is your life. You are the breath, because that's how you produce energy. That's everything in your system is controlled by the breath, actually, or activated by the breath. So with breath control techniques, which we get from pranayama, you can actually manipulate the energy inside your body in different ways. You can switch on stress if you want to control stress response. That's what Wim Hof does, that a lot. That's his forte. He's really into that. But I like to talk about the people who are already very stressed out, and the parasympathetic. So you can switch off stress too, and calm stress down, and relax and get into different blissful states. You can work on both sides. You can create balance using your breath. And you can literally wake up a pharmacy of different hormones, substance, chemicals inside your physiology, which has the power to, like medicine, to heal, to rejuvenate, to restore. And so this is what I'm helping people to do, is to change their relationship with how they breathe, give it more importance, learn a few simple breathing techniques, which they can make into a routine. I encourage people to try all of the breathing techniques that are out there, like Wim Hof method, rebirth, holotropic, Buteyko, do them all, find out things that work for you. And in SOMA Breath, we also help you figure out, the right stuff for you. And then make that your first thing to do, because it's so simple. Breathing techniques are so, anyone can do it. You don't have to go on a crazy diet plan, spending loads of money on supplements. You don't have to, go to the gym and work out for 5 hours a day. You don't have to do any of that. It's just breathing. It's just checking in with your breath and controlling the breath. So that's where
so how long a day, like, excuse me, when you would say wake up and just do a simple breathing technique, most people are going to listen to this and go, I already breathe fine. And we don't. We're living in sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, and people aren't even aware. They're not aware, or we're holding our breath, or we're breathing too high. I mean, we don't breathe well. I don't see clients anymore, but when I used to see clients, I would sit in front of them and they'd sit in front of me in my office and I'd say, you're not breathing, or let's breathe together. Oh, no, I'm breathing. No, you're not. And then they'd realize just by breathing with me for a minute, how their parasympathetic would turn on and they would relax. Oh my gosh, I haven't felt like this in forever. I'm like, yeah, we got to practice the breathing. So can you share with us, number one, do you agree that most of us aren't breathing correctly?
I think, that's probably quite a common issue.
What happens
but it
to
may
us?
It may be for reasons that a lot of people are also not aware of, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there around what's correct breathing as well. All right. So the first step is there's a few rules to follow, very simple ones. First step is to use your nose when you breathe. A lot of people use their mouth most of the time, or they just are all day long talking. And when you're talking, you're mostly breathing through your mouth, and mouth breathing is the worst thing for your health. And it's going to lead to issues, respiratory issues, sinus issues, upper respiratory tract infections and things. Because what happens when you don't use your nose is the nose has a filter. It filters the air, it warms the air, it prepares it for absorption, but also it produces nitric oxide. Only nasal breathing really produces nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, very important gas molecule that actually is essential for getting oxygen to the cells where it needs to go. But it's also a powerful antioxidant. It's antimicrobial, antiviral. It's a vasodilator, bronchodilator, so it dilates your blood vessels. And it also helps, oxygen to get to where it needs to go more efficiently. Now, if you breathe through your mouth all the time, you're not producing this nitric oxide. And you're not getting that vasodilation, you're not getting that dilation of the bronchioles. So what happens, you get asthma-like symptoms. Like quite often asthmatics can cure asthma by just breathing through the nose, by just switching. and becoming mindful of nasal breathing. The mild asthma cases can fix it like that. You know, people who suffer a lot from allergies may also solve it by being really mindful. And the time when you've got to be the most mindful is when you sleep, because a lot of people breathe through their mouth when they sleep.
Yeah.
And it causes then eventually sleep apnea and apnea problems, snoring and all this stuff. So Buteyko, who's an amazing Russian scientist, doctor from many years ago, he suggested taping your mouth closed.
Wow.
And a lot of like Buteyko specialists, you know, they recommend that. So you sleep with your mouth shut, can cure sleep apnea, like with a few sessions of that. It's amazing.
Wow.
And a lot of other different issues can be fixed by that. Yeah.
Wow.
So when you breathe through your mouth, you over breathe as well. You breathe out too much carbon dioxide and you breathe in too much oxygen. This is where the big problem is. You need the right balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in your system to be able to absorb oxygen from your red blood cells into the cells of where it needs to go. Okay, you have a very intelligent system in your body that tells you when to drop off oxygen. Okay, so every single cell is respiring, it's breathing out carbon dioxide, breathing in oxygen. Now, say you're working out and you do your biceps, a lot of bicep curls. So your oxygen in your bloodstream, instead of just dropping off that oxygen to every single cell, it will signal, the carbon dioxide will signal to say that the area where there's more carbon dioxide is where I need to drop off the oxygen. So the level of carbon dioxide is what tells your blood cells to let go of the oxygen and give it to those cells that are producing the carbon dioxide. This is called the Bohr effect. Now, if you overbreathe, if you breathe too fast, if you hyperventilate, a lot of people when they're stressed, they naturally hyperventilate. What happens is you breathe out too much carbon dioxide and the oxygen gets stuck to the red blood cells and it doesn't enter into, you get poor gaseous exchange. You get the issues then of contraction, because oxygen's a contractor. So it causes your blood vessels to go shorter, smaller, and this raises blood pressure. But it also is an oxidant. So oxygen is an oxidant. It's why you need antioxidants, because it protects against the oxidants. So those oxidants can produce damage to your cells in your body, your mitochondria. It can cause DNA damage that can lead to cancer and other issues. And also, if you overbreathe and you're not getting the oxygen where it needs to go, low body tissue oxygen levels is usually what causes disease. So, and also when you're tense, when you're stressed, you contract and blood flow diminishes to those areas where you need the oxygen to go to. And this creates low body tissue oxygenation, and that causes then chronic disease. All right. So when you raise carbon dioxide, okay, when you shift that ratio, when you increase your carbon dioxide, and this is all about slowing your breathing down, breathing through your nose and extending your exhalation. And you only need to even do this for a few minutes a day, like 20 minutes a day session in the morning. We've created a daily dose for that. If you do that, it slows your breathing down, but it also helps you build up this carbon dioxide tolerance, because carbon dioxide is also what tells your brain that you need to inhale. But if you don't have much tolerance to carbon dioxide, which a lot of people naturally don't, unfortunately, then your brain is telling you to breathe sooner than you actually need to. That means you start hyperventilating, all right? You breathe too fast.
Right.
But if you can handle more carbon dioxide in your system, you can then have more oxygen being transported to where it needs to go. And that's the key. So and carbon dioxide also a vasodilator, bronchodilator, and it works with nitric oxide. So carbon dioxide can heal a lot of things in your body. In fact, in pranayama, carbon dioxide is the prana. That is the prana. That's what creates energy, because what happens when you the equation of energy production is oxygen plus glucose, right? They're the two sources of fuel.
Yeah.
Glucose, oxygen burns to produce ATP, carbon dioxide, and water vapor, right? So the carbon dioxide is actually part of the production of energy. It's a very important gas. It's not a toxic waste gas. You need massive amounts of it to kill you. It's actually essential for your health. And in fact, it only becomes an issue when you have too little of it, not too much, right?
Wow.
So this is what we have to shift, okay?
Yeah.
And the Buteyko did a lot of work on this. There's like a lot of Russian science behind this. Pranayama is all about this. And this is what I was studying and going very deep on. And here's another very interesting thing. That pranayama was developed by studying animals in nature, partly developed by doing that. And if you look at the animals that live a very long time, elephants, turtles, they're very slow breathing patterns, like 1 to 2 breaths per minute. Okay, but animals that don't live a long time, like rats and mice, they're very, very fast breathing patterns, like 150 breaths plus. And they only live like 1 or 2 years, right? But the weird anomaly to this is the naked mole rat. The naked mole rat is the amazing creature which backs up everything I'm about to say, because they, right, live up to 30 years free of disease.
What?
Okay. Now they are rats, but what's the difference? It's because they live underground predominantly in hypoxic conditions. Okay, so low oxygen environment, but they also can hold their breath for 18 minutes at a time, right?
Wow.
Now whales, they can live 2 years plus, and guess what? They can hold their breath 200 years plus. They can hold their breath for 2 hours plus. So in the animal kingdom, there is a relationship between breath retention times, right, and longevity. Okay, and breathing rates and longevity, right? So humans, we're the one creatures that we can consciously control our breath. We can choose if we want to be like whales or if we want to be like rats. Okay, we have that. Do you want to breathe like a rat or do you want to breathe like a whale? And the yogis, if you look at the system of yoga, it's completely designed for you to be able to become so efficient using oxygen that you hardly need to breathe. And there's a Chinese philosopher, okay, remember the Chinese philosophy, a lot of it came from originally from yoga, originally, when the Hindu monks went to China. But Lao Tzu was the famous Chinese philosopher who said that the perfect human breathes as though they're not breathing at all. Very slight breath, okay? So that's how you should breathe. Not heavy breathing. You shouldn't even look like you're breathing, but you should breathe into your diaphragm. When your chest shouldn't even need to rise, and you don't need big breaths at all. The healthier you are, the less oxygen you actually need. And you may even have automatic pauses where you inhale, exhale, and pause for several seconds. That's actually the real healthy yogic breathing pattern, is an inhale, short inhale, a slower, longer, like usually double the time exhale, with a few seconds pause between the next breath. So pranayama actually is all about breathing less, not about breathing more.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Would you walk us through a breathing technique right now? Just something that everyone can, incorporate into their lives today. Like right now, what would be something that people can start practicing right away?
Okay, so I would so one of the things a lot of people suffer from is probably stress, right? And let's say right now there's a COVID situation because this is a big problem. So why not produce your own antiviral while you can? Nitric oxide. Right?
Yes.
So one of the famous breathing techniques from pranayama is Brahmari, which also means buzzing bee, okay, because you make like a humming sound, right?
Okay.
Now, the easy way to do this okay, is to hum with an emphasis on the okay, and make your your in middle of your eyeballs, in between your eyes, this area here vibrate.
Okay.
Like your third eye, right?
Okay.
You know, but around here, it's called your paranasal cavities. This is where you want to make it vibrate. You'd breathe in, and then just hum. And you can do higher pitch to try and find the resonance where it vibrates. So
you're trying to, when you're humming, you want this.
Yeah.
You're activating.
You're vibrating. Try and vibrate this area.
How many seconds are we inhaling?
As long as you, just a slow, long inhale, and then exhale and vibrate this area. And do that like repetitively, holding like your exhale, you know, the hum for as long as you can. Keep doing that for like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. And you'll feel amazing, because when you hum, not only do you produce loads of nitric oxide, like 15 times the amount, okay, from like normal breathing, but you also stimulate the vagus nerve and you calm the stress down. Oh, I love it. Any way of extending your exhalation, even just breathing out, like some people are going to make a noise, right? And they're not, they're going to disturb people. So you want to do the same thing, but breathe out very slowly. You're breathing out through a straw, blowing on a very small whistle. Okay, but always breathe in through your nose and then breathe out very slowly. That as well, and whistling as well, where you extend your exhalation like that, it triggers the vagus nerve. Oh, love it. Okay. You can also chant Om. This is why people chant Om, because Om is actually 3 syllables. R, U, and The R, if you consciously direct your intention with the R to your lower dantian, the third part of your brain, which is your digestive glands, your sex and roots. When you make that you actually feel vibration down there, because that tone vibrates down there. When you make a oo sound, oo, you feel the vibration here in your heart and thymus gland. Yeah. And when you go which is the third syllable, okay, or like that, the hum vibrates here. So when you do that long chant of and for Om, bring your awareness to each one of these areas of your brain. So you have your third brain, which is your creative glands. You have your maintenance glands, your second brain, which is your thymus and heart. And then you have your consciousness, which is your pituitary and pineal gland at the top in your throat for communication. So that's the sound, the hum sound. So that is Om, basically. Like I've just broken down Om and what it is. Every time you make those vibrations, you stimulate those endocrine glands in those areas, and that wakes the activities. So Om is a great way in the morning as well to kind of wake up to the day. Okay. And you can keep this going. You can do it several times a day, and it's going to keep on making you feel really good, calm, and also producing nitric oxide. So it's a great way to help. There's one guy he was in COVID and he got admitted to ICU. There wasn't much he could do. So I said to him, just chant Om all day long. Chant Om, chant Om. He was freaking out. He was a young guy, like in his early 40s. And guess what? He baffled his doctors, who said he's never going to survive this unless he takes these hardcore meds. He managed to survive. Wow. Actually, he's fine. His lungs healed really quickly. All he did was humming Om all day long. Yeah. Wow. Wow. I love this. It's the nitric oxide though, because the science is all there. Yeah, and this is what I love hearing too. The science is right. I mean, it's there. People can research this. You don't need any more studies. Yeah, no more studies. It's right there. And of course, we're not encouraging people to go off any meds if they don't feel that that's right, but we're inviting people to incorporate breath in. And again, use your intuition.
go with whatever feels right, but you might be able to heal yourself just using breath, or at least incorporating breath into your daily routine.
Yeah, I mean,
this.
it's a complementary thing. It's not like to replace anything.
Yeah.
That's up to your doctor, but you
But
if you've tried, yeah, let's say you've tried everything and it's not working. You need something. You need to try something else.
I remember years ago, even going to my doctor, and I don't even have a doctor, but I found a doctor, just a regular general practitioner. And I said, I just want to get some testing done for adrenal fatigue. And they're like, what? No, we don't do that. I'm like, it's just, you have to consider who you're going to, as, there absolutely is a need for doctors. I'm not saying that, but if you're wanting to look at another way, you have to go to the right person to help you. So don't expect to get these kinds of recommendations from all doctors. You have to go to maybe a naturopathic doctor, or even just go to a breathing coach or something like this. So you have tell us, this has been phenomenal. So I asked you for one breathing technique. You gave me 3 and I love them all. I'm going to incorporate them tomorrow, or starting today, I should say. So tell us, first of all, you've got also, before we close out, you also have created a supplement. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So one of the Ayurvedic secret medicines that for some reason got kind of really forgotten about or hidden, suppressed, I don't know, is a substance called colostrum. Okay. So what colostrum is, it's the first milk that you ever consume. It's the first portion of milk when you're born, and it gives you your immune system. It fixes your digestive system so you can actually digest normal food. And if a baby doesn't get enough colostrum, they're prone to childhood illnesses and so on. It can affect them. Now, a cow produces 1,000 times more potent colostrum than human colostrum. And it also has the same translation into humans, so it works in humans, but also it produces many times more than what the calf needs. So it produces an excess. Now, the holy sweets of India was produced with colostrum. And in Sweden, it was a big part of the culture as well. And in certain parts of Africa, it was also a big part of the culture, because it was prized for its healing powers. And Ayurvedic doctors would use it, prescribe it, and use it to treat people with cuts, with wounds, with immune issues, gut issues, because the colostrum will fix the gut. Now, when I checked this out, I was like, whoa, this is incredible. And it's why the cows are considered holy, for sure, because the holy sweets in India were made with colostrum. So I've discovered that you can actually, I found a really good source. You can actually use it as a supplement to heal the gut. So I found a source of this they were selling as for human consumption, and it was incredible. Like, that was the real icing on the cake for my whole healing practice. What finally healed the gut completely and fixed it.
Wow.
And the bleeding stopped pretty quick.
Wow.
And that was it. I was hooked.
Wow.
So,
that's incredible.
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah. But yeah, so I was like, right, I need to spread this everywhere, because as a pharmacist, with my knowledge and my understanding, this is an amazing medicine that we should be using. It doesn't have side effects. It's relatively low cost, and it's very powerful, and it works. And there's so much science behind it too already that exists. So I was like, right, I need to get out there. And then I started to recommend it to people. I got really good results. But what I realized is a difference as well. So some brands, they take out the fats, because fats, it doesn't give it a good shelf life.
Okay.
It can go rancid. So you want colostrum that has the fat in it. It may have a short shelf life, but it's much better for you, because the fat is where all the goodness is, colostrum. And it helps the absorption of those goodness, vitamins and immunofactors, growth factors, all of that. You need the fat. So I found this whole fat colostrum, the best source of it. And then I started to distribute it and sell it to people. And I had amazing results. So I was like, I'm going to carry on doing it. And eventually it grew into another arm of what we do. I'm bringing in some new supplements eventually, some more vegan friendly ones as well, because Colostrum's not vegan friendly, but other different types of Ayurvedic herbs. Because in Ayurveda, I'm telling you, it's everything you need to know.
Yeah.
It's a complete system of medicine that has yet to be rediscovered. They say it's been rediscovered, and people aren't practicing it as well as they could. You know, people are kind of superficially getting to it. But what happened was a lot of that knowledge got suppressed. You know, it got burned. India's been invaded and taken over by all these colonial forces, and a lot of amazing research got destroyed. But there are some people who preserved some of this, and that's like my teacher in India, who's on our board of advisors for SOMA Breath, Prakash Marsh, who I've learned a lot from, and yeah, so I've put that into our courses as well, and helped our instructors understand the things that are the easiest to learn and practice, implement, because Ayurveda is really like you could do a whole degree, like a medical degree.
Oh yes,
it's as in depth in depth as a medical degree. They have surgery in it. They have a whole an understanding of anatomy and different herbs and potions and remedies you can create. So there's a lot of different branches to it. Even music is a part of it, right? Music therapy. So, but it's also got some very simple, precise, but applicable things for general day-to-day lifestyle, just fixing your lifestyle. So I'm really helping people with that, understand that, so that they can easily help make sure people can follow the right lifestyle. This is all we can do, is support healthy lifestyle. We're not in the business of magic pills and potions. We're just creating this lifestyle, because ultimately, if you try and cure someone, cure basically means bring someone back to who they were before they got sick, right? To how they were. But that's not going to make you cured. That's not going to make you better, because you're just going to end up, if you've got the same habits, the same beliefs, the same emotions, the same physiology, you're going to end up the same operating system, basically. You're going to end up in the same situation again. So we transform people.
Yeah.
We make them who they were supposed to be before they got conditioned. And that means you become a whole new person. Therefore, you can't be cured, you're just transformed. That sickness doesn't come to a person who doesn't have the characteristics of somebody who would get sick.
It's true. Love it. You are a wealth of information. Thank you. I love it.
I have amazing teachers. I have very good mentors. And
I can tell. Yeah. Where would people find you and find your supplement and find out about SOMA Breath? Where can we go to find you?
Great. So we have a website, somabreath.com, where we have our courses. We have instructor training. We have a 21-day course that is our flagship course. It's very transformational. We have a course called Breath Fit, which is more the therapeutic breathing techniques for bringing yourself back into balance. And we have amazing instructor training as well. So a lot of people who do these courses become instructors, and they help other people that way. And then we have all the music. So we have all these different techniques. And one of our favorite techniques is we call it the awakening. It's a practice you can do every single day. You can find that's what our 21-day awakening journey revolves around. It's based on rhythmic breathing. So rhythmic breathing is the foundation of pranayama, and breath retention techniques and mind reprogramming techniques, and different ways of living your lifestyle according to who you are, into a system.
Love it.
So I really recommend that 21-day course, and Breath Fit. And then eventually, if you want, or a lot of people straight away go and become instructors, where you get all of that included. But then we also have the supplements store, where we sell Colostrum, and we're bringing in some new stuff eventually too. But I'm going to give you obviously all the links and some discounts for your viewers if anybody wants to deep dive into the world of SOMA Breath.
Awesome. Thank you. So you're going to give us a discount, and the discount code is adult, ADULT. And we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, Niraj, this was awesome. Thank you. I'm just blown away. This was such great stuff and so needed. And I really appreciate your journey and your work that you're putting out in the world. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. And obviously fact check everything I said. Don't take every word for everything I said. It's gospel. Go and do your own research. Go and look up what I'm talking about. Go on our website. You can see all of the articles where it's very well researched. All the references are there. And look into the world of breathing, breath work, and all these different styles. Find the ones that work for you. Don't have to even do ours. There's many of them like Wim Hof, Buteyko, holotropic, things that you can try out. But what I want people to do is to at least try some breathing practice and see the magic of the breath.
Yeah.
Right. Because that will get you hooked on to learn more.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree. Phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.